Hello, my name is Chris, and today we are going to do a first ukulele lesson. So the first thing I like to talk about are the different types of ukuleles. This is the smallest type, the soprano ukulele. The next largest would be the concert, just a little bigger than this. It's also tuned the same. And then the tenor is a little bigger than that, also still tuned the same, which would be G, C, E, A, or good cows eat alfalfa. It's a nice way to remember it. And then, of course, baritone, the biggest, is tuned differently. That's tuned D, G, B, E, just like the four highest pitch strings on a guitar. So what we're going to use is soprano ukulele for these couple of getting started exercises, things to kind of get you off and running on the uke if you're just new getting into it. The first thing then is picking and how to get these strings to make some sound. So with picking, we have a couple things to think about. The first is if we're going to just pick one string at a time, do we want to do that with one of our fingers? Do we want to do that with our thumb? Doesn't really matter. It's going to give you a little bit different tone. With fingers, you can do what's called a rest stroke. Let me give you a close-up on that. Where my finger, you can see, is kind of pulling more across the top of the string and then landing on the string behind it. And you can do that with, more than one finger. Kind of looks like the old Yellow Pages ads, let your fingers do the walking. And that's more of a classical guitar style way of picking, but really nice for single string melodies. Going to give you a nice tone. And then the other thing you can do is use thumb. Still sounds okay. Still sounds good. But with thumb, we're just kind of coming off up into the air. It can get a little snappy like that, especially if you dig in a little bit too hard. But anyway, those are various ways to pick single strings. Then, of course, strumming, when we're playing more than one string, like if we want to do some chords, which most people who play uke want to do some chords, we can either use one finger, we can use more than one finger, we can use our thumb. Again, there's a lot of options. And really, then, one of the nice things about playing ukulele, especially informally or if you're part of a group, is that there aren't really any hard and fast rules, especially as far as picking. Whichever those kind of combinations feels most comfortable for you, it's great. If it sounds good, then it's working. So that's kind of the rundown of picking technique and some of the different options that you got there. Now to work on some of those, what we're going to do is play some open strings. I'm going to get a metronome going here. Metronome just keeps a steady beat. This is an app called Pro Metronome that I use a lot. We're just going to start at 60 beats per minute, which is the same as the second hand on a watch. And what we're going to do is just play each string 4 times, starting with the A string on the bottom here. So we're going to play 4 on each one, repeat the G, and then go back. Now your G probably will sound an octave higher than my G, but they're both G's, so it'll still sound nice together, but I just have a low G on here. So here we go, starting on the A, and again, you can use fingers, thumb, whatever works, but one string at a time, playing each one 4 times this way, and then again, starting here 4 times back. So 1, 2, here we go. So A, 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 on to E, 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 3, 4, and C. And then here's G. 2, 3, and I'm going to repeat G. 1, 2, 3, 4, going back to C. 1, 2, 3, 4, then E. 2, 3, 4, and A. 2, 3, 4. Yep. Now what we were just doing there are what are called quarter notes. So we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4 over and over and over. Quarter notes would be 4/4 time. I don't want to get too technical, but yeah, we just keep counting 4 and playing a note each time. So that would be the open strings, and that's a real, again, kind of basic way, but a chance to kind of figure out, well, do I like to use my thumb? Do I like to use my fingers? Chance to kind of try that out, see what works better for you. The next thing that I want to talk about in this video, don't want to make this video too long, but we want to talk about the other hand, the fretting hand here. Now with fretting, there's a few things we want to keep in mind so that we're going to get a good sound out of these strings. The first thing is that we want to use the tips of our fingers. So I'm going to get a little bit of a crease, and I think you'll be able to see the camera here, kind of right on the tips of my fingers. Maybe not, but right, I'm not going to be back here on the pad of my finger, but I'm not going to be, right under my fingernail either, but just on this. If you think about the very end digit of your finger being perpendicular, let's see here, where's a good angle? Yeah, there's an angle. So rather than sort of flap down like that, we want our finger up straight like that. Yeah, there we go. You can see that well like that. And so that's going to be staying on the tips of our fingers is the first thing. The next is going to be keeping our fingers curved. Now what we want to look out for here is sometimes these fingers, especially ring finger or middle finger, will have a tendency to kind of pop down or go flat. And let me see if you can see this again at a better angle, maybe here. Okay, so up there and then it's flat. Yeah, so I want to keep that nice and rounded curve. With that ring finger. Maybe we can even see better here. Yeah, we don't want it to be popping back like that because our finger's not going to be as strong. It's not going to get as good of a sound. So we want to keep a nice curve, nice arch there with the finger. And then the next thing is going to be finger placement. We want to get sort of right behind the fret. If we think about what's going on with the string normally, it's vibrating from up here at the nut down to the saddle. Those are the two kind of white pieces there, the nut and the saddle, that the strings vibrate between. And what we're doing then is just shortening the amount of string that's going to vibrate. And in doing so, we're going to get a higher pitch. So anytime we push a fret down, we're always going to get a higher note than whatever the string was open. And so by doing that, then we can play melodies and different things. But when we do that, we want to get our finger right in that little gap that's sort of behind the fret towards the body. If we slide it kind of this way, right up to the fret, but we don't want to go too far. If we go right on top of the fret, if our finger's hanging over, we're going to get this muted tone, and that doesn't sound great. We want to get right behind it. We'll get a real nice ringing tone. Now if we get too far back from the fret, again we're going to get buzzing, muting sounds, not nice. So we want to get all of our fingers trained to get used to playing right behind all these frets. So whether we're playing single notes, whether we're playing chords, we're going to have a good tone. So I've got a real quick exercise to show you then that uses each of our fingers to kind of getting used to this positions. Oh, and one last thing too before we start that is our thumb. I didn't talk about thumb yet. With thumb, what we want to do is, if you do, you can hold your hand up and do this with me. If you squeeze in between your thumb and whichever, now I actually play left-handed and right-handed, so whichever hand you're using, lefties, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. Whichever hand you're fretting with, just make a circle and squeeze in between, and that's really the same feeling that you want to have in your hand when you're pushing frets down. The idea then is you're kind of sticking the neck in between, and then your thumb and your fingers are still going to work opposing each other. Your thumb is back there to support them, really, kind of opposite. Yeah, there we go. I think of it a lot of times really in between these two fingers, and then depending on what we're doing. So this first exercise, we're just going to start, first finger's going to play on first fret and go through these down and back. Middle finger's going to play on the second fret down and back. Ring finger, third fret down and back. And then pinky, fourth fret down and back. And that idea is called playing in position, where each finger is in charge of its own fret. So we're going to start on the A, the bottom string, and we're going to play it 2 times, and then this one 2 times, the E string, and then 2 times on the C, 2 times on the G. Repeat that and go back. And then we'll do that pattern on each. So here we go, starting on the G, and again we're going to use the metronome, 60 beats per minute, same as the second hand on the clock. So 1, 2, here we go. So the A string, 2, then the E string, 2, C string, 2, and then the G, 2. Then the G again, 1, 2, back to C, 2, and then E, 2, and A, 2. Now the same thing we're going to do on second fret with middle finger. So here we go. 1, 2, E2, then the C string, and the G2. Repeat the G2, and then back to C, and the E string, and the E string. Same thing, ring finger, 3rd fret. Here we go. Ring finger, then E, then C, and G. Repeat the G2, back to C, and E, and A. And then same thing with pinky now, 4th fret, down and back. Here we go. A2, E2, C2, D2, then G, back to C, E, and A. Yep, and that's the first basic exercise that I always teach with ukulele, as far as just getting each of our fingers used to doing what they need to do on the frets. If you liked the video, and I hope you did, you can go ahead and hit like. I'm going to be putting up more videos, ukulele, guitar, piano, bass. So yeah, look for those too. And keep on practicing, keep on playing. Have a good day.